Trallallero, trallallà, porco Dio e porco Allah, bombardiro crocodilo, un fottuto alligatore volante che vola. Brr brr patapim, il mio cappello è pieno di slim. Nel bosco fitto e misterioso viveva un essere assenti, la vacca Saturno Saturnita. De frente tu sei tanto bonita, con il corpo di Saturno Saturnita. Gli anelli che...
Allur Ísland has been hit with a high tariff, and no Hollywood movies have become too expensive, and we can only review kines and movies, quick review this.
What is this? A CD? Why do I have to review movies? Why don't you review them? My boat just crashed on this island. I just want to go home.
You can't. Iceland got is extremely important before watching a movie, and it's talk no if a movie is good or bad. That's where you come in.
But what if I don't want to review this movie?
Then you basically and rovning to a volcano.
Cool. And who are you?
I'm the manager of Iceland.
And what is your job?
I don't really know.
You're too lazy to review the movies yourself, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, I'll review the movies, but do I at least get paid?
Yes. Here is your payment for the month.
Thanks. Hello and welcome to my channel, Review. If you want to see more reviews... what? Hello and welcome to my channel. Subscribe if you want to see more reviews. Today we are reviewing one of the best Chinese movies, the best Chinese movie ever made, Chungking Express. It was made by Wong Kar-wai. He was never wrong or in a car. Why do you ask? Chungking Express is the name of the movie, and that is the name because Chungking sounds nice, and Express because this movie was recorded in a time window of 2 months, and it's Express, and it's also really expressive, and I'm also having an espresso. This movie actually has 2 stories in just one movie. Like those old Game Boy cartridges that I used to buy. Yeah, they were really cool. They used to have 2 games in just one cartridge. It was a deal. Like this movie. Except for that one time where I bought this cartridge from Harvest Moon and it actually was written Nintendo instead of Nintendo on the cartridge, and it would never save my game. The first story of the movie follows a cop named Hee Kyu. A very busy cop that got his ass dumped by a girl named May, and he decides that if she doesn't get back to him or call him or miss him until May 1st, he will just get over her. Not even 5 minutes into the movie and this cop delivers one of the coolest lines of cinema ever.
实验的时候呢，我会一直去跑，然后跑到满身大汗的，那这样子呢，我就没有泪可以流了。
There is also this cool scene where he buys a can of pineapples every day and the pineapples are set to expire on May 1st. I'll just put the scene here.
所以我一直当他是开玩笑，我愿意让他这个玩笑维持1个月。从分手的那一天开始，我每天都买1罐5月1号到期的凤梨罐头，因为凤梨是阿妹最爱吃的东西，而5月1号。 是我生日，我告诉我自己，当我买满30罐的时候，他如果还不回来，这段感情就会过期。
I just think this movie is so poetic and immersive. Like, you get a bittersweet feeling, and this movie is kind of like that feeling, and it just stretches it into 1.5 hours. It's really interesting because, you know, most of the time you're living life to make sense, so you're not gonna buy food that is gonna expire soon and stuff, but all this movie seems very surreal And I think with relationships and stuff, sometimes you do things that traditionally doesn't make sense. And I don't know, I think this movie is like quirky thing, like thinking out of the box or something like this, or it's just about people longing for connection and stuff, and they end up doing these things like jogging, buying can of pineapples and stuff. You see much more stuff like this later in the movie. And well, on this first story of the movie, we also have a femme fatale. She's not named during the movie, I'll just put a photo here. She's a very cool character that doesn't speak much. Throughout the movie, you just see her smuggling drugs, kidnapping people and stuff. It's like the total opposite of the cop. But they end up meeting in a bar anyway, and since both are lonely, the cop decides to make a move on her. That is funny because unconsciously you would think that the cop would know that there is something about this woman. Like, just one look at her, you could see that she's not someone to mess with. But I think that's all that desire or love is all about, you know, longing for something that is non-reachable. Freud or someone smart must have said all about this subject. After much time of the cop insisting on this girl, she gives in. They end up going to sleep together. But actually going to sleep together in the most literal sense. She sleeps while the cop watches 2 old movies and eats a salad. When the sun rises, the cop decides that he shouldn't be there anymore and he goes jogging to sweat all his tears away. From my interpretation, both characters in this first story were very lonely and longing for each other, but sometimes, for some reason, you just don't go for it. That's how the part 1 ends, and we begin the part 2, getting presented already to the girl of this part and also to the cop of this part. And it's very interesting because the name of this cop doesn't get revealed. He just gets called Cop 663 throughout the movie. Why couldn't they put like Cop 666? It would be... We also get presented to the female part of the movie, and it's Faye, a girl that works in a kebab joint. This girl is always daydreaming and sleepwalking and is quirky and always making those faces, which in a movie may be cool, but in reality it just makes me wonder if she's retarded. Cop 663 is actually dating a flight attendant, which makes you believe that no romance is gonna happen at the second part, but alas, he gets his ass dumped too. It's like these cops can't catch a fucking break. His ex then leaves a letter and the keys to his apartment in his favorite kebab joint. You can see where this is going, right? The obvious thing that will happen is that Faye will get his keys and start to live in his apartment, in the cop's apartment when he's working. Just for fun, or maybe she's in love with him, but it never really evolves into something more than just she breaking into his house while he's not there. The movie doesn't really feel like explaining why this girl is so quirky, and I don't know, because this is not something you would imagine in real life happening, but it is a kind of surreal movie, so we're just gonna accept it. Maybe there's symbolism there, maybe it's about lonely people trying to connect, maybe it's about LGTB people finding another ways to love and connect, but that's just speculation. It must be something smart, some kind of smart allegory like that. Well, the cop eventually finds out that she's breaking into his house, and of course he asks for his keys back, but not before asking her out to a bar named California. And it's very important, this bar is in China. Faye actually ditches him and flies to California in the United States like a boss. 1 year later, she comes back to her barrio and finds the cop, and he actually bought the kebab joint and is renovating it. Faye meets with the cop again, they begin to talk and have this flirty stuff, hinting that there is something else to them, something more. Love's in the air. That's it. This movie is absolute cinema. Subscribe if you like the video.